Hi everyone, Jen here from Memory Keeping with Jen. I hope you're doing well. Happy New Year. I'm recording this on January 5th, 2025. So hope everything's going well. My scrapbooking year is not starting out the way I had hoped. I printed the 2025 page a day sheet to kind of keep track of scrapbooking in the hopes of getting 365 pages done this year. And I haven't started. Today's the 5th, so I'm just now starting. But I'm curious, for those of you that do use some kind of a tracker, like an annual tracker, 365 days, do you count, when you do a 2-page layout, do you count it as 2 pages or as 1 page? That I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna track that. I mean, technically, I suppose it is 2 pages that you're completing, so I guess I could count it as 2, but just curious. Since I printed it, I'm not really sure how I want to do it. Let me see if you haven't seen it, this is what it looks like. And I have seen some people do it, they just color in the day that they scrapbook. And that's not how I was gonna do it. So like I saw for 2025, that it would be like random fill-ins. They'd have like, for example, January 10th, 14th, 15th, whatever, and not start at number 1. I personally was planning on starting at number 1, right? So I know I wanna complete 30 pages in January. For me, it's not about the day of the month, it's about the number of pages. But I am curious to know if you count a 2-page layout as 1 page or 2. Drop a comment below. I'll put a question in the comments as well to see, because I'm very curious as I'm starting this now to figure out how others do it. So today I'm going to be working. So today I'm going to follow Project Recipe Adventure Parks. I'm still working on my 2011 year in review album. The layout that I'm doing today, I actually have, I think 17 pictures for. So I'm not gonna do them, I'm not gonna fit them all on 2 pages. It's gonna end up being a 4-page layout. It's possible, if I like the way this one comes out, that I'm gonna literally duplicate this. I've never done that before, but my thought is, so when I say duplicate, I'm gonna do 4 pages, two 2-page layouts using this exact template and the same colors. I checked already before I started to make sure that I had enough of this page kit or the decorative paper kit to do 4 pages, and I do with a little bit of modifications. I've never done that before, and I'm feeling like because all the pictures are of the same event and they kind of tie in, that it would be okay if I did 2-page layouts of the same. So if I did 4 pages of the exact same layout. So we'll see. I want to see how this one comes out first, see if I like it. And then if I do, I will complete it, and then I'll probably put it at the end of this video. So we'll see at the end what happens if I end up doing 4 pages or just the 2. So I'm following the adventure parks. Again, it's not an adventure park. Photos. They are pictures of my kids going around the block and where we used to live when they were younger. My youngest son was crawling, learning how to crawl. My older son was learning how to ride his bike. And then we ended up finding, they were doing construction on our street, and we ended up finding a piece of heavy machinery, which my son was absolutely infatuated with. So those are the pictures that we have today that I'm going to be working on. So for the border, I have the Field Fence decorative border punch. I don't know if I'm going to like it, but I did trucks in my last layout, so I don't want to do trucks again. I did get the oak tree punch out just in case I need to have like another little embellishment, and because the pictures are taken outside, I figured I might be able to tie this in. But I have it here just in case, because as I've said before, I like to have everything in front of me before I start. I don't want to have to get up. I sit when I'm recording, I'm sitting when I'm scrapbooking. So I like to have everything on my workstation. When I'm not recording and scrapbooking, I actually stand. I have, I guess it's a bookshelf that you call, that is just wide enough for all my stuff, and I have everything pretty much within grabbing distance. I can grab stuff as I'm standing there, and then and it mixes it up a little bit. So I don't like to sit all the time. It gets kind of awkward with, you know, trying to see, and then I like to kind of stretch a little bit. So so I have those punches. I have obviously my tape runners. I have the mini tape runner and my original tape runner. I have my multi-purpose tool. I have my scissors. I have my photo trimmer. I have not yet trimmed my photos yet to fit. And I do have a note about that in just a second. And then of course I have my 12-inch trimmer, which I use on every single layout ever. And then I have my two 13-inch mats that I like to do my work on. And then as far as the photos, so most of my photos are in landscape mode. The left page is going to be fine because they're pretty much landscape. The right page, obviously this one is portrait mode, so I'll end up changing it to match it. I might end up trimming these photos. I might literally just duplicate this page on this page with the photos so that they all fit. For this one, the second 2-page layout, I do have a portrait photo, so that will be fine on that layout. And then the color choices that I have this time, these are from the Outdoor Blues collection, which is, I don't think no longer available. And I'm kind of piecing things together a little bit. So the color choices that I have, because we do need double-sided for this layout. So these are gonna be my background. And then I have this one, this color. Now the reverse side of this one, I don't know that I really like it. Maybe I haven't decided yet. So because I'm not crazy about that one, I had some scraps also from the same collection left over. I'm not crazy about this side, but I did like the blue. So I might end up using these as well for some of the things. And then I have two cardstock sheets. I have a lighter brown, which I really like. I wish I had a full sheet of it, and I don't. So I ended up getting a sheet of hot fudge. And I am gonna mix these. So I'm gonna use a lighter brown for the Field Fence decorative border punch. And then I'm gonna use the brown for the background that it requires. So I won't end up using the whole, the hot fudge. I won't end up using the whole hot fudge. So that is what I have so far. And then I have, of course, my various alphabet stickers. I don't know what I'm gonna use. I kind of have a thought. I have these brown swirls. These are actually really old, and I didn't realize it. As I was looking through my stickers to find ones that I thought would match or that I wanted to use, I found these and I was like, all right, I need another set. Of course, I found some later on, and then I found some that I have 3 packs of these that are still sealed, and I had no idea. One of them is that, like, they look just like this with the white background, and I think it said it's from 2008. I was like, holy cow, I had no idea that they were that old. I've used them, I would say, within the last year, and they're still sticky. So, and then the other ones that I have are the same brown swirl, but they're on like a bluish green paper, and those say they're from 2017, and they're unopened. So, lesson to myself, I need to double check all my ABCs before I just keep buying more, because I really don't need 6 sets of brown swirl ABC stickers. But I'm not sure if I'm going to use those or if I'm going to use these. These are shadow stickers. I've had these, again, same thing. I've probably had these 20 years. If they don't stick well, I'll use my tape runner to get them to stick. Excuse me, but I'm missing a lot of letters, so I wanted to write on the move. I don't have the right stickers for that, so I might do moving, but we'll see. I have to kind of see how much room I have on the layout, and then I'll decide if I'm going to spell out on the move or if I'm going to use moving with this. So we'll see. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. gonna get my trimmer out. And I am going to start with the brown. So I'm gonna do my field fence first. I'll start there, get that over with. So I always use my multi-purpose tool to open the boxes. I don't have nails. I find it sometimes they're hard, and I don't think I've used this bunch before. And I know I've said that in the last few videos I've done. I recently used the rustic truck for the first time, and then I used the gear wheel for the first time as well. And yeah, this is my first time using this one too. So we'll see if this does. The last two new punches that I had left, they almost looked wet. Made the paper look kind of wet. So we'll see if this one does the same thing. And I'm looking at it now, and this one has the little notches in it to know where to stop. Let me see. So you'll see as I'm cutting, the paper will have a little notch in it, and that's where it will stop. So I need 4 of these. Not bad. Okay, I'll show you the little notch. So see right here, it's got like the little triangle. So I'm lining that triangle up on here, and that's how I know where to cut next. It really makes it so much easier. I kind of wish all the punches had this. That is really cute. All right, so I have one. I'm leaving my scraps there. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna flip it over, and then let me just trim these little edges off. I think they'll be fine in there, but I don't want them to get caught. And I'm not trimming onto the floor. My trash bag is over here. And if I do, the only problem is if I do this second 2-page layout, if I duplicate this, I'm not going to have enough of this brown to do the field fence again. So I will have to mix it up. I don't think I have any more of this one. So I couldn't find it. I looked everywhere. And of course, I don't think it's Creative Memories. It doesn't feel like it. It's kind of grooved. It's probably Bazil, I'm not sure how to say it. From like I probably got it at Michael's. I don't know, is Michael's a regional store? Like, do y'all have Michael's where you are? Well, I'm in New England, I'm in Connecticut. And we've had Michael's for as long as I've been scrapbooking. We used to have AC Moore, and that's where I used to get all my scrapbooking stuff from, but they closed probably, I don't even know, 6-7 years ago maybe. It's been a while. That used to be my favorite place to get it all, but. And I don't have a Hobby Lobby near me. The nearest Hobby Lobby is about 45 minutes away, so I don't go there that often. I have a Joann's nearby that is small. I say nearby, it's probably 15 minutes to get there. Even Michael's is about a half an hour away from where I live. I do have a scrapbooking store that's about 10 minutes away, amusingly enough. And I do go in there sometimes to get stuff. So I'm going to set this aside. Obviously, it's got the little nips on it, but I'm going to, I have a 12-inch, I think it's like 12 by 4 inch case that I put all my potential border scraps in. So that will go in there. Until I have a need for one brown border strip, which happens. I do 1-page layouts. I'm not opposed to doing 1-page layouts if it lines up with my photos, so. Okay, I'm gonna do my other brown cardstock, and it calls for 4 1 15/16 by 12. Whew. I might need my glasses to figure this one out. Okay. 15/16. I'm going to guess that's going to be the one. That's going to be the line. I'm lining this up right. I love that it has the ruler here, and then you can see, line my paper up, and I'm lining it right up with the 15/16 line. And I need 4 of those. And you can cut either way. If you don't have this trimmer, you can cut from the top, you can cut from the bottom. There's no right or wrong way. You could cut from the middle if you wanted to, if you're only cutting part of the paper. I have done that before, if you're like cutting something out of the middle. Okay. So, and this also will go in my border scrap box. Leave this out, I'll need it again. Okay, next I'm going to do designer paper number 1. And so for me to know which paper I want to use, so I'm going to look at A and B on the other side. So A and B are the long strips here. So I know which paper I want to use for that. And I want to use, whoops, this one. So everything on designer paper 1, I'm going to cut out of this one here. And I'm going to start with, so I need 4.5 by 8 1/4 and 7.5 by 8 1/4. So I'm going to cut this to be 8 1/4 first. And I know I want my stripes to go this way. So I'm going to cut the 8 1/4 this way. Again, my arm extends out so that I can see where my cut line is going to be. Line it up, 8 1/4. And then I need 4.5 and 7.5. So I'm just going to do the 4.5. And then this one obviously will be 7.5. Yep. Okay. And I will set that aside. And then this I need 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. And I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 12 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. So I'm going to cut this to 1 3/4. And it does show that there's going to be a little bit extra, and that's fine. 1 3/4. And 1 3/4. And this I'm not keeping, that's too small, obviously. And then I need, and this is calling for reverse. Oh, you know what? So I think this is the one. Yeah, this is where I didn't really like the back of this one. So I cut this. I'm not going to cut these further because I don't think I'm going to use them as the reverse. I want this one that way. So I just want this side, not the other side. So I am modifying this already a little bit because it calls for 4 different color squares, and I think I'm only going to have 3. Maybe I'll have 4. Yeah, you know what? I will have 4. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to cut some of these. I think I'll cut 6 of these, and I'll cut 6 of these. That's what I'll do. All right. Just have to kind of go with the flow. And if I don't like it, I have extra paper, so I'm not that worried about it if I decide I don't like the colors or I didn't cut enough. I would always prefer to start with less cuts than cut something that I'm then not going to use like I just did. And this one, whoops, that's crooked. I don't want to cut something and then not use it and then have obviously the extra cuts. And who knows, maybe once I lay it down, I'll end up liking that side of it, but I definitely like the other blue better for now. So we'll see. And this, I don't care which way the stripes go, because I can turn it easily enough because it's a square. So I'm not worried about, obviously, which way I'm cutting it. I guess there really wouldn't have been a choice anyway. But I wasn't lining up the cuts, I should say. I'm not worried about lining up. You know, I could have lined up and cut like on the edges of each one and then figured it out that way, but I wasn't worried about that. And again, now that they're cut, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see if I like it. Maybe I will end up using that side. Okay. Designer paper 1 is finished. Designer paper 2. All right, I need 6.5 by 4.5. So let me take this and do my 6.5. And then I need 2 4.5. But let's see. Yeah, it's for the photos, so I'm definitely doing that one. And this one I'm probably gonna turn and shift this over, so it's fine. Again, I didn't want to cut more than I needed. Okay, and this is extra. And I guess it doesn't matter. I'm just kind of thinking, could I use these for some of the squares? But it doesn't matter. And then same thing with this, 1 3/4. I need 2 strips of 1 3/4. I will have a little bit extra, and I will save it because I like this pattern. And then 1 3/4 again. Probably could line up and do both of them at once. I'm not brave enough to do that. I'm afraid that my cut would get messed up, but I'm just gonna cut it on the side just so you can see what the different pattern's gonna look like. So this one actually only calls for 4 of them to be reversed. I'm not sure why, but I guess it's just the way they... I'll figure it out once I start putting it all together. Why they only want 4. Okay, I think I'm done with this for now. Now it's time to lay it all out. That's moved just a little bit. Sorry about that. I hope my page isn't super crooked. Okay. Okay. I'm going to start with, so it wants you to lay the thick brown ones along the borders. So I'm going to start with that. So I tend to lay everything out and make sure I like it before I start adhering stuff. And then a smaller one goes on this side. And I suppose this doesn't really matter as much. Again, because I think I'm going to be duplicating the page. And let's see if I can get these Now this is where I would like to have the lines kind of line up, but I don't know that I'm going to. Ooh, or I can have them opposite. I think I like them opposite. Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm going to do it that way. So the lines are opposite across from each other. So it may end up going. So when I lay this down, I'm going to do one, and then actually I'll probably start at the bottom and then I'll lay this down because this might end up just overlapping it very slightly. Okay, so I have that, and then I'm going to put a photo layout there, and I'm going to put this, I am going to put this one here and overlap it on the blue. Okay, and then let's see. So we start, I guess it doesn't really say. So I'm looking to see how they have it laid out on here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, so this one is gonna have less, and that one will have less. So I'm going to start with these. So I'm counting how many of each pattern they have here. So this one, the first pattern, there's 4 of them. The second pattern, there's 4. The third pattern, there's only 2, but the third pattern is going to be this pattern. So that makes sense. And then the fourth pattern, there's only 2. So I think I'll use the fourth pattern as that extra one that I had. But I kind of want them to alternate a little bit. So we'll see. But I'm going to start with this. Again, and I'm just laying them out right now because I want to see where they're going to go, how I like them, all that good stuff. And there's going to be 6 on each page. Okay. And then it's literally gonna repeat and start over again. So I could do it where the pattern just repeats at the bottom, and I could do like the striped here, but then the striped, if I did the striped, this striped here, it's gonna kind of line up right there, which I guess it doesn't matter. It's gonna line up right here anyway. But I'm gonna mix it a little bit. So I am gonna keep the stripes in the same direction. I kind of can't get over how easy this layout is. I'm actually pretty happy with it. And why do I not, oh, I have enough. Like, why do I not have enough? I don't. I should have enough of these. And I seem not to. I should have 1, 2, I should have 4 more of these, and I don't. Why not? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I see, because it's, all right, so, because it's calling for the reverse, so I used 4 and the reverse 8. So for the striped one, or this, let me see, this one, I needed to use 2, 4, 6, 8, and then 4. Okay. That's still 2. Oh, okay, I see. And then 8. Got it. Got it, got it, got it. Okay, so I just have to change my pattern, which is fine. So I think I'll do that one. So essentially, this one is gonna come up fewer times, which is fine. I think I have enough to make that change. Or maybe not. How many of these I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I only had 6 of these, that's why. I could make 2 more. That's what I'll do. That's why I keep all my scraps. So I'm gonna make it on this one here. I just want 2 more 1 3/4 squares. And that's what happens when I, you know, mix it up and I use scraps. So it just kind of have to think about it a little bit more. But I love that I have the scraps and then I can use them. They match the layout. Again, I had these in the bag. I had this one too. I have this strip. I keep them in the same bag with the designer paper that they came in, even though they're scraps, so that in a case exactly like this, when I'm working on a layout, I have the coordinating colors. Next question. So now I'm kind of questioning whether or not I want to have the blues next to each other, or if I want to mix it up a little bit. But I think it's okay. As I'm looking at it, I think it'll be fine. And I say blues meaning the navy blue and then the striped. So I am putting it so here it is different. I don't want to put the beige against beige, so I have the beige and the blue. Here there's a little bit of a beige right there, but that's fine. Yeah, I like that much better. I don't like that one there at all. All right, let's see how the fences look. Again, it's gonna kind of get covered up anyway with the fence, but I can already tell I am incredibly happy with how this is turning out. And I can't wait to put my pictures on. Excellent, okay. So now that I have all that, I'm gonna take it all off again and I'm gonna adhere everything now. So I will start with one side. Actually, I'll go ahead and start with this photo mat right here. And I kind of want to think about where I'm going to place my title as well, but I want to put this right in the middle. So again, I'm going to do the bottom. I'm going to work from the bottom to the top so I can see to line everything up, because I want it right to the edge of my paper. Again, I don't use a lot of tape runner. I know some people that do. I have a cousin that at my Croptoberfest, she used an entire tape runner. I think she did 8 pages, 10 pages, something like that. It wasn't a lot. I typically, I'll say I can typically go through a pack of pages, like a 16 pack of pages with one tape runner. Generally. I mean, obviously, not every time, but that's kind of what I go based on. Again, I don't want to get my head in the camera, so I want to make sure it's completely lined up at the top. So I'm kind of taking it and lining it up here and then just kind of folding it over so that I know that it's lined up at the top. And now I'll do my squares. Don't need that much tape runner. Let's see here. So I'm just looking to see what my distance is going to be in between each one, if I can figure that out or not. It's kind of hard, but at least kind of want to have an idea of where to start on here. So I am going to start on the 1/4 inch mark on each end, and then I'll fill them in. So let me lay them back down. So I'm laying them each a 1/4 inch apart, but it's going to be too close. All right, there we go. Again, they're going to get covered up by the fence, so you're not going to be able to see exactly how far apart each one is. But I don't want to have any major gaps in between. Okay, do the top. Now, if I had a long ruler, I could just line them up, but I don't have a 13-inch ruler. I wish I did. I should have one. Creative Memories doesn't sell one, but you can get them on Amazon. Or probably a scrapbooking store, craft store. Just one more tool to have in the good old scrapbooking collection. The square looks kind of big. What is wrong with it? Is it off? That's better. It does feel a little bit bigger than it. It's just a tiny bit. I'm just gonna trim real little bit with my scissors because it's just kind of off. There we go. Okay. It's laying up a little bit like that. I'm just gonna, it would settle down once I put the page protector on it, but just give it another little dab of adhesive. Okay. And now this is when I don't have a silicone mat, and I wish I did, to do my adhesives on. So I am going to use my mini tape runner for this, and I'm just going to go along in between each of the fence posts, and that's how I'm going to stick this down. And I don't know if you saw what I just did, but I literally just switched hands. And that is, you know, if you're lefty, you can still use our tools. Our tape runner still works. Doesn't matter if you're lefty or righty. I happen to be ambidextrous. If you don't know what that is, that means that you can write with both hands. I can write with both hands. Not well. I'm predominantly right-handed when I write. When I color, if I color something, like for example, when I color in my page, my 2025 page a day sheet, I use my left hand. I eat with my left hand. I cut with my right hand. And again, I can write with my left hand. It's just not my dominant, but I can enough that it's legible. And obviously I can use tape runner with both hands. Right, I'm gonna slide this down just a little bit so I have a little more access to this side. Because my desk that I'm sitting at, I have my drawer is on the right under here, so I can't get my chair completely over and under it, so it gets kind of leaning a little bit to get to this side. don't need a lot of tape runner. I don't use a lot. I have found, you know, every now and then I'll go through my old albums, and I have found that there are sometimes things that will come up off the page. But I will also be honest to say that there have been times that I did not use Creative Memories tape runner, and I would guess those are probably the pages. I'm gonna safely assume those are the ones that have popped up. I just take the page protector off and fix it. No big deal. But I am glad, you know, obviously if I didn't go through my albums, I wouldn't know. And I would hate for somebody else to pick up one of my albums and then have, you know, be looking through it and stuff falling off the pages. That would not be good. So I just noticed, so this one, I could turn it either way, changes the direction of the pattern. And I just looked over to see, and I did this one going up and this one going up, and luckily these are up too, so. Glad I checked that quickly. I probably should have just laid all these out first, but it's fine. Oh, I was laying it out first. Just to do this one. It's a little bit crooked. So this one's a little bit crooked. I'm using my multi-purpose tool. I would say the multi-purpose tool, this is my third one. I might have used them. Sometimes you have to clean the ends off. Like I just use Goof Off to clean a little sticky off the end. I keep one of these in my kitchen, in my drawer in the kitchen. I have one in my basement area on the way back, where I like keep all my kids' stuff, and I'm a big label maker user, so sometimes I have to use this for my label maker. I love it. I will say outside, well, these are not lined up at all. Outside of my 12-inch trimmer, my multi-purpose tool is probably my second most favorite and used tool. I use it all the time. Again, not just for scrapbooking. I don't know how these ones got to be so far off, but that's fine. It's not the end of the world. Again, the fence is going to cover it up, so as long as they're somewhat aligned with each other. I suppose I could do this too and line them up that way. Haha, what do you know? And now that's aligned there. And so once I'm done with this, I'm going to get my photos out. I do have to still trim them, which is fine. That won't take long. A little more dab. So doing this right now and knowing I have more photos that will align with this event, as long as I can get the right papers, I'm almost guaranteed that I'm going to do this exact layout again. I don't have any more of this paper, but I do have a different one that's similar that I would use as the background. I do have this one. I do have this one. So yeah, so I think it's just this one and then maybe this darker blue, but I can figure that out if I don't have enough. And then obviously this brown, I don't have any more of this brown, but I will find something else that I could use in its place that's not the dark brown. the hot fudge. And I do kind of want these to be lined up next to each other. Why is this? Oh, whoa. I was not paying attention there. I totally adhered it off the page because I lined it up with the square and not the edges of the page. There we go. Okay, I'm going to get my photos. So I do have 2 extra squares here. I'm going to save these for the next page. I might need those. All right, I have, so it calls for 6 photos. I have more than 6. I have 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. I have 8. Okay, so I'm not going to use all 8, which is totally fine. I'm going to put that one there. I have to turn these to 3.5 by 3.5. I don't know, we'll see. And then here, I want, these ones will be a little bit tougher, I think, to trim down to the right size. But maybe not. Okay. This one will be fine. Again, my love-hate relationship with this stupid trimmer. Three and a half by 3.5. What am I at? 3.5 by. So now the question is, which one of these do I prefer to cut? I feel like this one is a little bit more. I'm gonna trim this one and hope I didn't make the wrong decision. But if I did, well, I can't change it. Okay, those ones are set. I'll put those there after I do this, and this one I'm definitely gonna do. This was my son crawling on the grass, and I know exactly in this picture he's touching the grass, like he's looking and touching the grass because he didn't like the way it felt. I remember that very clearly, even though it was 13 years ago, because I remember taking the pictures, and that's why I was taking the pictures. So I like this picture, but it's kind of blurry. But it shows him more on the go. I don't know that I can trim it enough to capture. I cannot. So I'm going to set this one aside. And I'll do this one. So as I'm doing all this, I'm thinking about my title, and I'm gonna have a title. Maybe 2. All right, let's see, where do I want to line this up? I'm gonna line this up My head is probably right in the camera, and I'm really sorry for that. Just trying to get them spaced somewhat equally apart. And this is not repositionable tape runner that I'm using either. This is permanent tape runner. But until you actually like press down on it, like if I were to try to lift it up now that I pressed down on it, it probably wouldn't come up. I don't use repositionable tape runner. I guess I don't really understand it well enough. My thought is, you know, do I have to adhere, like push down like I just did with this to make it stick? Do I then have to use, permanent tape runner as well? I guess I need to understand it. I'm sure there's probably a video. I'm sure Creative Memories has done a video about it, or somebody has done a video about it, but if not, and if you are watching this, and if you make videos, and you use repositionable tape runner, can you please explain it? Can you do like a quick reel or something, and put the link in the comments? Or if you know of a video, because I'm very curious how it works. Okay. So I'm not going to use my oak tree because I think it's going to be too much. Well, I probably could put it like right here. Oh, maybe I could do that right there. I'll do my title here. Let me see how big these are. It's kind of, these letters are kind of big. I'm going to take one off and just kind of place it here and see. Oh, I guess it's not that bad. I don't know if this is where I want it to go, but I'm going to put them here. O. And I did already check to make sure I have enough of these letters for this, and I do. Oh, is it going to fit? I don't know if the N is going to fit. It's not. See, this is what happens. But I didn't push it down all the way, so it's fine. I'm grateful for my multi-purpose tool. I think this is going to be the tool of the day. So the M, I did not push down all the way, but apparently I did on the rest of the letters. Okay, and then I'm going to do, this is why I like them. I just feel like these just went really well. Now, if I decide to do a title on the next page, the next layout, I probably won't have enough of these letters. I am running out of them. I have plenty of the bottom ones, like the shadow part, but I don't have a lot of the top ones. So I must have, throughout the years doing other layouts, used only the top part. I don't know, I don't remember. And I am going to do a quick oak tree punch with the rest of the brown that I have. And just set these aside. And I'm going to do the dark brown, since I have a lot of the dark brown. I just feel like I need something over here, so. is a punch. I don't know that I've ever used this punch. I have so many that I just don't use, I guess. Look, see, I have not used this one because it has like the dark lines around it. Brand new. So I'm gonna, even flipping it over, it does the same thing. It's almost like it's wet, like it's grease or something. It's so strange. All right, I'm gonna do a couple of those. It's not really that big. I think I'll do one more. I'm gonna do 3 right there. And just trim this. I try to get as much use out of, you know, the paper that I have. I don't like to throw away remnants. I'll cut as much as I can out of one piece. Yep. All right, let me put this away. I'm gonna put down my oak trees, and then this first layout, first 2-page layout will be done. I'm gonna mark my tracker. And then I'm gonna go ahead and repeat this with the next set of photos that I have. I'm not gonna film that part since you already watched me doing this one, but I will come back and add it at the end of the video so that you can see what the 4 pages look like together. Okay, there's that one. Stay tuned and I will be back shortly with the rest of it. Hi everyone, this is Jen. So I am back. I ended up doing the second 2-page layout, almost exactly the same. So this was the first one that I did, which I just finished the video for. You saw that. And then I did this one. So it's a little bit different in that I will compare it to you. So on this one, the first 2-page, I did the title at the top. The second one, I did the title at the bottom. I did end up changing the colors of the fence. I like the alternating colors of the fence, but I still like the brown fence better. I just didn't have any more of this color brown. And then on the right side, the initial layout I had a landscape photo, and then I did have a portrait photo for this one. So yeah, so when you're looking at the book, it's gonna kind of, you know, go like this. You flip the page and it'll go right to that. So again, it was all the same day, it was the same event, and I wanted to tie it together. So I feel that doing duplicative layouts kind of helped tie the 4 pages together. I did go ahead and update my page a day for January. Since I did 4 pages, I'm counting these as 4 pages. I colored in the first 1 through 4 of January. And I was kind of thinking about it, and a typical album, if you use 1 set of pages in an album, you can almost finish an album in a month. So like January, there's 30 days. And if you did 32 pages in an album, it would go a little bit into February. But I'm thinking if you did a page a day and you follow this, even if it's not a true page a day, but if you did 365 pages in a year, you could probably get a good 10 albums done. It kind of was a little bit mind-blowing when I thought about it. So the album that I'm working on now is the 2011, a year in review. I will actually probably have at least 3 full albums of just that year when I'm done. Looking now, I could probably fill 2 albums, 1.5 to 2. So I don't put my pages in the album as I work. I have them in my storage cube. And then once I'm all done, then I'll buy the albums that I'm going to put them in, because as I've said it before, I tend to buy albums that I like, and I'll buy one. Oh, I really like this album that just came out. And then when I go to Scrapbook, whatever the event is, whether it's year in review or a travel event, and I need more than 1 album, then I'm kind of stuck. And That's happened to me a couple times now that I've had to go on to the aftermarket and try to find the album again because, you know, most of them that are foiled or decorative don't last long. They're out for a few months and then, you know, they mix it up to something else. So I've learned that I do all my pages, and then once I know how many pages I have, then I'll buy the albums that I want. So I already have my eye set on the Vintage Chick album. That's the one I really want to do for 2011. If it ends up going on last chance before I'm able to finish all my pages, I will just end up buying 4 of them, which I might anyway because they currently have the buy 4 get 1 album free sale going on. It's the free album is a limited edition album. There's, I think, 3 choices right now that you can choose from: lavender, a green mica, and flint. And the flint one is foiled with 2025. I don't really care for any of the colors, so I'm not rushing out to take advantage of that sale right now. But if it does look like the Vintage Chick album is going to be discontinued, then I will go ahead and do it. So I have been keeping my eye on that just because I know that's the album that I want to use. So I will update or upload this to my Facebook page. So if you're interested in seeing for yourself the sketch and what you need to follow directions for this project recipe, it will be there. My Facebook page is Memory Keeping with Jen, 2 N's. And there is an album called Project Recipes. So you will find that in there. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate your support. And if you've made it this far, if you could hit that like button and subscribe. I do post videos twice a week, typically Sunday, Monday, and then Thursdays. Sometimes I do project recipes. Sometimes I do another sketch that came out maybe on the blog. Sometimes I will do something that I saw on Pinterest. It kind of varies. I go by what my photos are. And that's how I determine, you know, what I'm going to use, what the layout that I'm going to do. Sometimes I just kind of wing it. But I have found that if I follow a sketch or a project recipe or, you know, a layout that I've seen somewhere, that it makes it go a little bit faster. I guess I'm just not as creative as I would like to be. So coming up with them on my own, sometimes I do. I almost always at least adjust whatever the sketch is. So obviously on this one, I adjusted this a little bit, did my titles. So it was a little bit of an adjustment, not much this time. But again, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and happy scrapbooking. Take care.